coming in just a little bit late today too. But hey, folks, man, episode 37 right now, Chris, somewhere around there. See, hey, man,
Hey,
what's up? What's up?
it's a blessing, man. Hey, y'all go out there, man. Hey, look, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Y'all need to go and hit that like button,
And
subscribe.
subscribe.
Hey, it's official. Now, me, Nick, Steven, and that boy Jay, we can all say we SEC bound, bound for glory, all of that. It's going on. But before we get all to that, and I'm sorry to just
Go ahead,
take over,
take the stuff.
but I gotta say this right here. Y'all pray for my boy Ty. Okay? Pray for my boy Ty.
He can't defend
And on
himself
top
today.
of that. Now Steven knows that we beef, and he knows the beef is fresh. But say a prayer for my boy Steven, because Steven about to have an aneurysm over these Dallas Cowboys. I can't do it anymore. My whole family is Cowboys fans. I tried to be. I can't do it.
I'm at peace now.
But we gonna leave that alone. But pray for my boy Ty, because I mean, say something. Do your holy your Mary, your Saint Marys, your Holy Marys, all that stuff. You know, go to the altar tonight. Go
Put
to
that
the
oil on
altar
his
tonight.
forehead. Steve, what's up, man?
Man, and happy New Year and to everybody. I don't know how late in the year you're allowed to say that, but I know this is the first time I'm on here since the new year and everything. And so, hey, like Chris with the K said, we are now officially SEC here all the way through, at least on the football front. We know Big 12 basketball is still very, very real, as the Texas Longhorns are playing UCF as we speak. But from a football perspective, it's the Wild Wild West right now. I mean, the vultures are out in full effect in Tuscaloosa, and the vultures being the other SEC teams and coaches.
Not just other SEC. Hey, even the Big Ten coaches, everybody. Look, man.
But it's extreme what's happened in this landscape, and the timing. Obviously, we'll speak on that here now, but the timing with Nick Saban's retirement just a week into it, because you guys covered it last week when he made the announcement, and now here we are.
Yeah.
And my
goodness, man. Look here, man. Josh Pate said it best on his show yesterday. He said that Alabama fans, if you're under 30 years old, you're a trust fund fan, meaning that you've been the only thing that you've experienced your whole life has been success with this team. It's 17 years of Nick Saban being the king of college football, and now it's Bama's going to come back to be a regular football team, right? And I think we've kind of seen some chinks in the armor over the last 3 or 4 years lately. But they've still been able to compete. No. They've been able to compete, and they were in the college football playoffs this year and a couple years ago too. But for the Bama fans, like, look, I'm married to somebody from Bama. I got 2 sister-in-laws that went to Bama and 2 nieces that graduated from Bama too as well. Those were horrible seasons, man. Like, they look at that as like, our team sucks. I'm like, you went 11-1 and won an SEC championship. Your team doesn't suck. You're a good team. Almost a great team. It's just there's 3 other really good teams in college football too. So, man, it's interesting, Steve, man, to see the max exodus of folks from Alabama, especially from the offensive side of the ball. This is what gets me, Steven. You can say what you want to about Kalen DeBoer. He's an offensive guy. Like, he puts up points. So to see a guy like Caden Proctor leave, knowing that the staff that is coming in is the staff that coached the best offensive line in the country, seeing Nye Black leave, that kid will tear it up, in that offense. Bond leaving too as well. To me, that's the interesting part. What do you think, Steven?
So it is interesting. And I think that's one, it depends on where you are and the reason you came to Bama. I'm gonna start there with the offensive guys, because a lot of them didn't come there to play for Tommy Rees either. Let's keep it a buck, right? So a lot of it comes down to why they were at Bama and what are they being asked to do. For example, Will Rogers is coming in. We covered Will Rogers pretty closely on this channel, former Mississippi State quarterback who went to Washington, right, in the portal this year as Kalen's replacement that was to be for Michael Penix Jr. And now with him taking the Alabama job, Will Rogers then goes to Bama, and he's kind of slowly bringing in whatever personnel he has. And there's some ties. There's ties there to a degree, but one kid that we all liked, Jalen Hale, they said, hey, we're going to stay put because we saw what you did with Roma Dunze. You saw what you did. Jalen Polk is going to the draft. Jalen McMillan will eventually be an NFL receiver. We've seen the development, and Ryan Grubb is also coming to Alabama with Kalen DeBoer. Like those guys are as good as it gets, X's and O's. But there's again ties, familiarity. Why did those offensive guys come to Bama? Those are questions I'm asking those questions because I think it's more than just the X's and O's. Because I agree with you, Nino. If you just look at a Dunze, Polk, and McMillan,
I'm not leaving.
Right? Like sign me up for that. Teach me their ways. That's the offense. What receiver wouldn't want to play in that offense?
Exactly.
Right? Where they just put it up. So it's a great question.
Hey, Steven, hey, real quick, turn your mic up, bro.
You can't hear me?
No, we can hear you, but turn your mic.
It's a little light. It's a little light.
It's a little bit light.
This is a funny comment from Quentin, man. Quentin goes, how much I need to cash up to get Caleb Downs? Hey, that was a shocker too. All right. But Steven, are we even sure that Will Rogers is coming to Bama?
I thought he already transferred. I thought that was
no. I don't think he did.
I mean, Steven, did you see the graphic that I saw? Because I saw a graphic like early on that kind of snuck in there.
Oh, did you?
In the midst of all of this, I should have confirmed the handle, but I definitely saw
real quick. I'm pretty sure Will Rogers is already.
Because if Will Rogers is at Bama, I would probably expect Jalen Milroe to hit the portal too.
Freak though,
huh? Freak. No, I mean not to say that he's a better talent than Milroe. There's a reason why Kalen DeBoer went and got Will Rogers, and if he accepts him to come to Bama. Mm-hmm. Knowing that this is his last year playing, Will Rogers isn't coming just to sit the bench for his last year. He's not doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
it looks like he's still in play.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think he's going to Bama because, I've heard everything that looks like Milroe's going to stay, and he's pretty much said he's staying. All right. So, yeah.
Man, I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback, Nick. Yeah. We talked about this last night. Shout out to my guy Jason, Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. We talked about this last night. Look, the thing for me is that outside of maybe three guys now, about three guys, some of the other ones that you're seeing leaving Bama, this was kind of expected for some of these guys to leave outside of like Nye Black, Downs, and Proctor. But outside of that, what other production are you getting? I mean, the thing that I think that we all need to realize is that my uncle called me and said, "Hey man, you think a lot of these kids would be leaving or would have left if Saban was there?" And I said, "Yeah, I still think that some of these kids would have left if Saban wasn't there, simply because this is Bama." And for the last few years, what we all have to stop and realize is that for the last few years, Bama has had red shirts, the guys who have played, the 2-deep roster, the 2-deep, all of that. But then they also have gray shirts. They have those guys who are, hey, you just wait, be patient, do what you need to do, come back, and we're going to have a spot for you. So, I mean, it's a factory over there. So, I mean, the thing is that something was going to have to give. These guys want to get film to try to go to the next level. So, I think that's something that we all definitely need to talk about. I don't think this is the end of Bama being great. I think Bama still has a chance. You have arguably one of the hottest, if not the hottest coach that was out there in Washington. You have him coming off of 2 damn good seasons and a national championship berth as well. Mm-hmm. So the thing is that I think that I don't love the hire simply because I think it's just so many different philosophies clashing right now. And I'm scared that Bama's going to have to be transportal U. I think the only thing I would say is now, yeah, I just gave him credit, but the only knock that I would say is that it's Sonny Dike-esque. Did he catch lightning in a bottle with all those super seniors? Because now coming to Bama, it's going to be different, and the standard is going to be different. Whereas people expected you to be bowl eligible or to at least be pretty damn good at Washington. Now they expect you to compete for a national championship year in and year out. That's the actual expectation, year in and year out.
Yeah, man. Look, so here's a comment about Proctor. So Proctor is a starting left tackle. He was a true freshman this year, freshman All-American. But 6'6", 6'7", 365-pound guy. So James Strice says that, Proctor makes sense too. He's from Iowa and he was committed to them prior to flipping to Alabama. And yes, that is true. Yeah. But Iowa doesn't even have an offensive coordinator right now. Like he is committing, he's going back home, but he's going to a school that doesn't have an offensive coordinator right now. Like he knows exactly what his offense is going to look like in this upcoming year at Bama. He just saw what Washington did, right?
Well, here's the thing about Proctor, and here's the biggest.
He's a guard.
Yeah, he's a guard. He's an inside guy. But the
or
thing
a right
is,
tackle.
You would think that scheme would be friendly for him as far as, we're talking about Washington. But going to Iowa makes more sense because there's less movement, less things that he has to do. I mean, regardless, guys, France, what's the coach's name up there?
France, is it
Kirk Ferentz?
Kirk Ferentz. Yeah, you all know what Ferentz is trying to do. Ferentz is trying to milk that clock. He's trying to manage the game. I mean, you thought with McNamara going there that he would at least open it up a little bit. Didn't open up none. I know McNamara got hurt. Regardless, though, it's the same thing year in and year out. No matter who's the offensive coordinator, you know what's going to happen. He's going to manage that game.
I completely agree.
Yeah, that's true.
I completely
Which
agree.
is sad.
Yeah,
it's a coaching thing because he prides himself on being that type of coach. It doesn't matter who the OCs get. They had Greg Davis, for crying out loud, for the longest time. Shoot, it doesn't matter who the OC is. With Iowa, I agree with everything Chris said. Proctor, at least going there, you're going to be going forward.
Exactly.
That's it. You're going to be going forward. There's no lateral movement. Because my concern with him, and I told Ty about this. I told Ty this with Proctor. My concern is you got the diabetes ankles, the big mama ankles. And we gotta get the body right.
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, Steven.
Somebody has to be real with these brothers, man.
Steven.
He has the big mama's house ankles.
He got the calf the calf matches the ankle. It's just all one. It's just one.
Look, I'm not
out here trying to move against edge guys in space.
Y'all
trying to block for my quarterback.
All I'm saying is this right here is that I think there's a chorus of fans out there who would agree with this statement here. I think that going back to Iowa is a comfort move, and I think that it could. I'm not saying it is because the kid is talented. I think he just needs to figure out whether he needs to be inside or outside. But I would say this right here. That move could potentially stunt his growth as far as the next level. Because I think going to Iowa, like Steven just said, just moving forward, you know exactly what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be asked to do, and he could be really good at it. I think if he does move to the interior,
it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. Hey, but this next comment here, man, from Sooners Legends podcast, he goes, "What's Bama going to look like on defense with DeBoer as the head coach?" That's a good question because they even hired a actual DC yet, have they?
I think bend don't break. I mean, I think that's what it's going to be, and I think their defensive. I think they do have a defense. A defensive.
Oh, it's the
South
head
Alabama coach.
Yeah, it's the head coach from South Alabama. And then they got a position coach, if I'm not mistaken. I was talking to Marcus Marr. Oh man,
the
Marcus
guy from wasn't he from Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo. Buffalo's head coach.
Buffalo's head coach is taking the defensive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I actually like what he's doing with that is getting, G5 head coaches to come be, coordinators. But it's just so weird to see that happen at Bama. We're used to a different standard.
I got you, but at the same time, I know reading up on it, a lot of people are there are those who are excited about it simply because those are guys who who seem to have ties in the Southeast region. So
Yeah.
they're familiar with the recruiting grounds, probably just not that caliber of player where they're at right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man.
But I
I
mean,
mean,
one thing that I
like
would say, and Stephen, I'll
go ahead,
pass to
Chris.
you. One thing I'll say about DeBoer, though, just kind of like, and I'm sure you guys will say this about Sark, but like for me, the Venables and company or whatever, I do trust their evaluations. I think that I would go out on a limb and trust DeBoer. I'll use this as an example. I used this last night. About 3 years ago, there was a quarterback who had torn both ACLs who played at Indiana that transferred to the University of Washington. Nobody thought that he would set college football on fire like he did for these last 2 years. Michael Penix is who I'm talking about. If you don't know that. So I mean, that's the thing is that I trust his evaluations. Even some of these guys that were super seniors, we can call them super seniors. We can say they're old men out there. But the fact of the matter is, he's going and getting these guys from who knows where and bringing them in, and he's making it work. So I mean, the thing is, Doc, I do semi trust his evaluation, so I think he's gonna be fine with that. I think he'll do a patchwork job for Bama, but what I'm worried about, and I think what a lot of people are worried about, is going forward.
Yeah.
Is the standard going to be the standard as far as bringing in these, pretty much historic classes year in and year out?
Yeah. Steven, how about you, man?
So I think this goes back to what you said off top, Nino, when you quoted Josh Pate about the trust fund Bama fans versus real Bama fans
Mm-hmm.
and real football people. I mean, Brinsky's in here from Sharpshooter Podcast, who's a true Bama guy, right? We know Ty's a true Bama guy. We know our football heads who've been through it. I'm talking about you were there for the Tyrone Prothro, Mike Shula days, okay, when y'all used to play Southern Miss on ESPN2. Those Bama days, okay? That's what I'm talking about. That's when you're really in this. You were there for Sean Alexander and
the scandal. The
Andrew
book scandal.
Zhao.
Sean Alexander and the book scandal. Isn't it crazy?
But I say all that to say this. I think it was Josh Goodwin or whatever his name is from On3 talked about the timing of all of this happening. He was talking about it on Twitter today. And Saban retiring after the playoffs and the timing mirrored with the portal and how exhausted the portal's already been and just the unfairness for all these teams, right? Because it also became a domino effect. It doesn't just impact Alabama now, it impacts Washington, which then impacts Arizona. So it's a complete domino effect across the board with how the mechanism of the portal. I think if you're a smart Bama fan, you have to use this year as a complete evaluation. There can't be expectation. This is the smart way to look at it, but they're not going to accept it. Okay?
Exactly. Not.
I'm gonna. This is kind of what you should do versus reality is the way I'm putting this. What you should do is look at this as an evaluation year. Understand who you're hiring. You're hiring a head coach that was just in the national championship. You're not getting Nick Saban. Like Nick Saban's gone, right? You got what you got. Let's get him. How do we get Kalen DeBoer acclimated to the South? How do we get him acclimated to the SEC? How do we get him acclimated to the new playoff system that is now in place? All of these coaches are going to have to adjust. It's not just him. Everybody's going to have to adjust to super conferences now and playing a super conference schedule. Nick Saban didn't even have to deal with that. Think about that. So all of these things are happening. And let's actually have a window for him to get his staff together and actually recruit a football team right now. I think he'll show you that he can coach, but is he going to get that grace, right? Because the more negative that they are about this and the funneling of negative energy will only defer away from donations to the program, strengthening your NIL, and recruiting. And if they're going to be sourpusses about it because, we're not in Camelot anymore, I'm telling you that as a Texas fan who used to be in Camelot 15 years ago and what it's been like, right? When you act like that, and you think you're entitled. You think everybody has to look at this period of 2024, and this goes for everybody listening, no matter what team you like. This is officially a new era of college football starting next year. Super conferences, 12-team playoff. The previous era ended with Michigan winning the national championship. Wow. We won't see college football look like that anymore.
Yep, exactly.
It's different now.
So we had the BCS era, then we had a paradigm shift to this.
Yep.
The BCS era ended when Florida State won, when Jameis Winston beat Auburn.
Yeah.
And the 4-team playoff era started when Ohio State won in 2014. So it was a 10-year
They won the first
era.
one.
They won the first one.
Yeah.
And Michigan, that version of college football is over.
Yeah. Now it's a whole nother monster now.
Hey, Stephen Corliss that's a great point, and the headsets are coming too. So
yeah. Oh, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's perfect. Hey, I want to address this comment from Thunder OU Sony. He goes, I love
that.
He said, I wonder if Texas is tampering in the portal. All right. So was Alabama tampering in the portal when I think they had the cornerback from USC there at practice the day after he decommitted and I hit the portal? What's his last name? Jackson? He was there for the bowl practices like the day after he decommitted and went to the portal.
Jackson.
Yeah. So was that tampering as well? I'm just trying to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Look, I just want to know.
Hey, Thunder Sooner, you know you're my boy, but I think everybody tampers.
Everybody tampers.
You know what I'm saying?
And so look, I had somebody say something in the comments earlier about Bama should, like sue some of these teams for tampering. Well, that means they would have to run the most crispiest clean of shop because they would be inferring that they don't do this. And yes, guess what, folks? These players talk to the other players and they get a feeling of where the hell they want to go based upon what player on that team you're talking to. You can't talk to the coaches, but it doesn't say anything that I can't talk to somebody that I went on 7-on-7s with, for the last 3 or 4 years prior to going to college. And I want to know what the team's like, right? And so that's the stuff that goes on. No different than if you're hired at a job and you want to go work somewhere else and you call your home and say, hey, man, what's the working environment over there like? I'm going to put in the application. All right. It's the same thing. And I think that's where people got to kind of separate some of this stuff when it comes to college football. It's a new landscape, folks. It's transfer portal. It's NIL. College football is the minor leagues for the NFL. And people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Mm-hmm. Every other sport, every major sport has a minor league. You want to leave high school and go play baseball in the minor league, you can get drafted straight out of high school and go make millions. You can do it. You want to go play hockey straight out of high school, you can go to the minor leagues and play hockey and make millions out of high school. Same thing with swimming and diving. Yeah. Same thing with soccer. Same thing with boxing. They have amateur leagues and you can go pro early. Football is the only major sport that doesn't have it.
Now that good touche point. Florida State did get in trouble a little bit.
Too.
Which one? This one? The Tampa one?
The Thunder Sooner comment. Are you living in 1998? Like, this is 2024. Like, because Odd Feature brought up the DMs. You can DM people now. The other thing is every one of these players, whether you have an Oklahoma player, a Texas player, a Bama player, I don't care. They now are affiliated to agents or representatives or whatever they're called, right? So you can contact those people. Yeah. These coaches also have relationships through if they finish second or they finished a runner-up for a player, they're still keeping in touch. They're keeping everybody's doing it. Yeah. So the Des Ricks kid, let's just put it out there. The Des Ricks kid that is transferring from Bama to A&M. Apparently, Florida was alleged of tampering in that, and they didn't even get the guy.
Florida, I mean, they might as well just let Florida do whatever they want to do right now.
They need all the help they can get, damn it.
But if you're a Florida fan, aren't you happy that Billy is trying?
Trying to do something. Look.
Oh man, I got to show y'all a chart.
Okay,
go ahead. No, it's good. It's good. Give me a second. I'm gonna show you. Go ahead and talk, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'll just save this point for whenever we're transitioning into kind of the next topic.
Hold on. Let me Let me send myself something. I'm going to send you guys. I'm going to show this chart, and it's the two
Okay.
deep of Alabama, right? And I have all the names read it out. So somebody sent this to me on Twitter, but I had to like kind of update it as well. My brother, there is their two deep is pretty nasty, and I'm going to show it right now. Give me a second. Let's share the screen. Is it? No, it's not that one.
Don't pull.
Go ahead and talk, guys. Go ahead and talk.
Don't,
Go ahead and talk.
The
don't pull nothing
vultures,
crazy.
are out here.
Hey, real quick, while he's trying to do that, Steven. So it just flashed across my screen. McCarthy's back. So what are we doing? What are we doing, Steve?
You know what? Look. I told you I made my peace with it. I don't know why you decided to bend back that way. We can talk offline. I'm not trying to get my blood pressure up right now.
All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of small, but all those red lines are people that are off the two deep at Alabama right now. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
That's
6,
NFL
7, 8, 9. Yep, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 25 people on Alabama's two deep that are either off to the NFL or portal.
Ty Simpson not being on that list is crazy.
Oh my! I mean, that's crazy, man. That is crazy. Yeah, man. All right. It is what it is, man. Alabama. I will say I feel for you, but you guys won 6 championships in 17 years, so you guys are fine. But it's normal college football now. Honestly, folks, the only thing that I really want to talk about is this transfer portal. It's the most pressing topic right now. Alabama, the transfer portal, Caleb Downs. That's what I really want to talk about. Caleb Downs was, I think, he was one of those players that I thought Alabama couldn't lose. Like Nick Saban, he said one of the hardest things that he had to do when he retired was tell Caleb Downs that he wasn't going to coach him for the next 2 years. So when you're going up to a true freshman, and that was one of the hardest things you had to do was go tell this true freshman who was at the prom about 8 months ago that my hardest thing that I'm going to do this year is tell you I can't coach you anymore. It kind of shows you the kind of player that Caleb Downs is and the growth that he's had since the first week. Sark picked on him like in game 2, but the growth that he had throughout the year, man, stupid, ridiculous. He's one of the best safeties in the country right now as a 19-year-old freshman, man. So let's talk about Caleb Downs, man.
So I'll go first. Look, and even when Sark picked on him, I mean, it was more of a coverage rules breaker. Any safety would have got beat. I mean, the kid is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's one of the best defensive players in college football. I think just like Nick Saban had to do what was best for Nick Saban, Caleb Downs had to do what was best for Caleb Downs. And when you have the talent level he has, you have to, you're trying to do everything you need to do to put yourself to be ready for the draft in a couple years and be one of the premier defensive players that he's going to be expected to be when he gets to the NFL. Look at what Derek Stingley's doing right now with the Houston Texans, for example, a kid that was all world freshman year and kind of had to just wait. You know what I mean? So in the situation with Caleb Downs, I totally understand why he's hitting the portal and leaving and we'll see where he goes. Rumors are, I believe it's between Georgia and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And the Georgia move is scary because if you put him next to Malachi Starks,
dude, it's over.
Christ almighty. I mean, that's like a super team back there.
That's scary. That's 2 first-round picks at safety.
Yeah, and not to mention, the other big 5-star all-world safety they have coming in this year in the 2024 class, who they were, or however, they got a whole bunch of stuff going on there at Georgia, right? So I'm just saying, with the Caleb Downs situation, you have to do what's best for you, and it totally made sense for me. I get it. The South Alabama coaches coming in and all these guys, but if you don't have those relationship ties and you don't know how you're going to be coached, people forget Nick Saban, defensive guru, but his specialty was those DBs. That's what Nick was. That's what Nick was known for, right? And so, I get it.
Chris, how about you?
I'm honestly, I would just kind of second up as far as what Steven just said. I mean, I think the kid is phenomenal. I think he's going to be phenomenal wherever he goes. It's going to be a great get. If the kid was listening right now and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna listen to what Chris said," I would say, "Go to Georgia. Don't go up there messing with Ohio State." As good as Ohio State has been, I mean, I think the thing is that what's his name, guys? Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator for them. He was at
the one that came from Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. Yeah, I would say, hey, you're not trying to go there and you're not going to a place to try to learn something for the next 2 years so you could be great. So you could be good at it the first year and great at it. Go be great.
Yeah, it's true.
And with what Alabama, what Georgia's going to do is going to be very similar to what you were doing at Alabama. So I mean, I would stay in the SEC. I'm an SEC caliber type of player. I would go and do that. I wouldn't go up there and mess with the Big Ten and mess with what they're doing up there because it's very dependent. Now you're gonna have your hog mollies up front. You're gonna have your guys because I think the JT kid decided to come back. I think that you're gonna have a really good team in Ohio State. But the fact of the matter is that if they think Will Howard's going to lead them to the promised land, then hey, Michigan, come over here. Let's go curb stomp them one more time because that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But like I said, I wouldn't go up there messing with Jim Knowles, trying to learn that very methodical and very meticulous, very particular defense. I would go to Georgia, where I know it's going to be similar play style, just different calls, different looks.
Yeah, under Kirby, it just makes sense. The same stuff.
Yeah.
You would be able to go to Georgia and, really just honestly, just you're learning language. It's the same defense, though. So comfort, it's like, dude, just slide me into my role.
Dude,
he's
going to be sick up there, dude. He's going to be sick. I mean, it's like Saban 2.0 going to Kirby, right? I mean, it just is what it is. He's probably the closest assistant that Saban has had that really mimics him. You got to think he's been with Saban. He went to LSU with him, right, for a little bit. He went to the Dolphins with him, and then he came back to Alabama with him, right? So you're looking at a guy who has been with Saban, I think, 10 years. So he's somebody that was pretty much he was made up to be a Saban light, and he's run Georgia just like Alabama has. And man, it's crazy to see Caleb Downs go there. He's going to wreck shop. He is. He's going to wreck shop. That team's already ready-made. One can argue that they were easily one of the top 4 teams in the country last year, but they didn't have a chance to play for it. But, man, it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. So next one that I want to talk about, man, is this next comment from Huntington Beach, where he says that he thinks Jabbar Muhammad is talking to his cousin Malik. And we all know Manny Muhammad is a cornerback at the University of Texas. And Jabbar is the standout all Pac-12 first team, Pac-12 cornerback from Washington. And every rumor is that this is coming down to Texas and Oregon. But my question right here, folks, is why not Alabama on this one? This seems like, to follow your old coach, right? I understand the family ties, Manny Muhammad, Billy Walton, right? I mean, I get it. It's close to home. He's from Dallas, Texas area. But, you have a coach that you went to war with. He came and got you from the portal, what was it, 3 years ago or so? You go to a national championship game with him. You made a hell of a play against Texas. And now he's in the portal and your coach is at Alabama, right? So why isn't Alabama being factored into this one much?
I thought he was going to take a visit to Bama.
He's taking a trip, but I think that's just off the love, because every report is every report is Oregon and Texas. 50-50.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll look at it this. I mean, as a Texas fan, I was, as soon as Jabbar hit the portal,
I want him.
As every other Texas fan, who we just saw Jabbar in the game we were just eliminated from, and the job he did, on our receivers until the end of the game when Jordan Whittington finally got the best of him. Shout out to Jay Witt. But I mean, Jabbar did a fantastic job. And, that's a kid that came from Oklahoma State. When he transferred over, he's gotten better and better. I think what I love about him is he brings attitude as well as with the production, and a guy that can play pure man coverage, just like his cousin Manny.
Yeah.
And you think about, you have Muhammad Islands is what some people are already starting to call it.
Please, baby Jesus.
But Jabbar brings that edge. He started talking to X weeks before the game started. Right?
I mean, yes, that was, I loved it because X wanted it. He wanted it too. They were talking. Right. I was like, this is what's up. This is what football's
heavyweight
about.
Matchup. Exactly. And you watch the film of those guys. You watch the way he matched up with the Oregon, Troy Franklin or at Oregon, who's a dog at receiver, and the job he did over there. And I love Sark and them did a bang up job in this 2024 cycle with corners in particular, and the corners we have coming in, the returning experience we have with Terrence Brooks, Manny Muhammad. Look, but when you can add a kid like this, it's not just his skill set, it's also the energy that he can bring into that room.
It's the full package.
It's the full package.
Yeah. Chris, how about you, man?
Y'all talking Texas stuff, right?
No. I'm not talking about Texas. So the first question was him being a Washington guy and his head coach going to Alabama. Why not Alabama? Why not show them more?
Jay
love?
Morris has a good comment about that there.
Hold on. Right there.
Comment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I also think, you just got to think about it. It's the way that he and Jed Fish left is very Lincoln Riley-esque, right? Because you've heard some of those reports about the players. Some of these were players that even came out on Instagram Live where they're saying it's like they came in, just said, hey, look, what's up? I'm about to leave. Bye. And that was it. He was like, everybody's like, what?
Yeah, crazy.
So, that's the whole thing, is that I think some of these players are kind of like, hey, there's a lot of money out here right now. And I think that, do you go down to Bama and get in that whirlpool as far as, what's going on? Do you go here to where, I think that, for example, I've seen some Washington guys are going to Oregon. I've seen some Washington guys there. I think these guys are looking for what's the best route for me to get to the NFL now, because a lot of them have some really good film from this year. But I think some of the more premier players now are saying, okay, I need to think about myself. What's going to be best for me?
It's contract season, Chris.
It is. It's contract, which is funny.
Well, hey, that's what I was going to say, because when you think about it with DG, right, with Dylan Gabriel, I think that, in my mind, this is just my theory, right? Hear me out on this. I feel like Oregon is a better spot for him. Now, don't get me wrong. They don't necessarily run a pro-style offense, but they have more pro-style concepts than what Levy had for him, right?
Correct.
Because I feel like probably what was said, and I don't know what was said. I'm just putting words out there. It's high speculation. But I feel like the NFL scouts probably told him, hey, we saw what you could do with the gimmick and with the toys. Now we kind of need to see you do that with a little bit more meat on the bones. We need to see what you could actually do versus what we could see you do with these, kind of a gimmick offense. You get what I'm saying with that beer and shoot. Yeah. So, I think it's similar to that, where these players now are trying to make business decisions. Like you said, it's contract season. So
it is.
They got to figure out what's the best situation for me to, get to the league now.
Which is crazy because he had a draftable grade this year for, I heard he's like a day 2 pick. Maybe he's trying to come back to get that first day pick or, low second round pick. But look, he was going to get drafted this year too.
Who?
But folks, we got a super chat right here. I'm talking about Jabbar McDonald. Not McDonald.
Jabbar
Muhammad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to, because he was talking about Dylan Gabriel.
Before, oh no, not okay. Come on, we all know DG. Yeah, come on, we know that.
I mean, that's no disrespect. I mean, that's just. I mean, we're all being real right now as far as just like the drafts and stuff. No, I mean, that's just my thoughts about it. But yeah, keep going.
But anything when it does come to DG, he's going to get that QB rehab treatment over there at Oregon. We saw what Bo Nix was able to do, right? So Bo Nix was I don't want to say it, but he was hot trash at Auburn, right? He goes to Oregon. Oregon, makes him really pretty and beauty, him up. He's going to be a first round pick this year. I think DG can sneak in and get drafted next year, after 1 year with Oregon. So that's a good move for him, man. But group chat, money.
Miller.
All right, Matt Miller, man. He said UGA or the field next year.
Obviously the field, man. I think obviously the field. I mean, here's the problem for UGA. Bowers. Bowers is gone. They don't have another guy on that roster that's like that. They got the Evans kid.
Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp.
No, that kid is not. Okay, do you think that kid is going to be running jet sweeps and doing all the rest?
Yes,
hell no.
Dude,
he showed some things
Chris, he showed it when Brock Bowers was gone. Oscar Delp ain't no slouch, man.
I'm not. All I know is this right here. Bowers.
Guy was the number one tight end prospect.
5 stars.
Bowers is gone. Bowers is gone. I'm not saying that the kid is not good, but I'm just saying Bowers is pretty damn good.
He's good.
And Ladd's gone too.
And Ladd McConkey's gone too. And that's what I was going to say. I know what this offense, I know what Kirby Smart does whenever he doesn't have guys like that, because I've seen it to where he's had nothing but speed on the field. And the only time they beat teams is whenever they beat teams handily, is whenever they're facing, lower competition. Let's just be real. When he goes to teams like this right here, this is what's going to separate. I mean, it's going to be interesting next year looking at what Beck is going to be able to do. Is Beck going to be able to be, what was the quarterback the year prior? What was his
Stetson
name?
Bennett?
Yes. Is he going to be Stetson Bennett, or is he going to be the kid Jake Fromm? So, I mean, I think that's a question that needs to be asked, because that's what Kirby's going to turn him into next year, as a true game manager. Not, hey, go run this offense, go do this or whatever. He's going to be a true game manager next year. And that's what's scary, because they're going to play a lot of close games, in my opinion, next year. I think defense is going to still be nasty, but I just feel like offense is not going to be there.
Matthew Miller, Ladd McConkey entered the NFL draft on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Yep, exactly. Hey, Chris, I will say something about what you just said too. Is they will have a lot more closer games. Georgia doesn't have the benefit, if these schedules are right. They don't have the benefit of the SEC East competition for the entire year. They got to play some real teams this year.
They have a
much more difficult schedule, right? So it might not be an easy cakewalk 12-0 like they did pretty much the entire season. Like for the last 2 seasons. They're gonna have to go to Oklahoma and play, right? They got a pretty tough. So it's in Georgia this year. No. You guys play Bama. We play Bama. I'm sorry. Yeah, Georgia, they come into Austin. They come into Austin. So I mean, they got some. Look, their schedule this year is not the schedule for the past 2 years. It just isn't. Man. So
I have their schedule. So I have their schedule up right now. Let's also be fair, though. While I agree with everything that's said, Caleb Downs makes them a lot better.
Hell yeah, he does.
So if they start getting some of these other players, also there's going to be another wave of transfers in the spring. Let's just be honest. We always see it. I remember a couple years ago, Jordan Addison just popped into the portal out of nowhere from Pitt and ended up going to USC over the spring. So let's be aware of that.
Here we go. I got the schedule pulled up.
Okay, great.
So if we look at the schedule here, they start off with
the
Clemson
game, which is a neutral site, but it's in Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. Then they go Tennessee Tech, easy win. Kentucky should be easy. Then Bama. Right now, Bama's not the same Bama.
Before Bama.
Yeah. Auburn's going to be a difficult team next year, folks. Look, Hugh Freeze going into what is this, his second season? Look, man, I like Hugh. Look, Freeze going to have that team rocking, man. I don't know about next year's going to be the year, but they're going to be a good team. And then after that, they got State after that, and that's in Georgia. Then they got Texas at Texas. And then they got Florida. Then Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to be a hell of a game. Tennessee is going to be a good game. Then they got UMass and then Georgia Tech. So now that I think about it, man.
November's a little light after Ole Miss.
Let me be honest with you. What do you think about this Clemson game?
That's going to be the game that I'm going to say this. That's going to be the game if Dabo's really cooked. If he's really, really cooked, or if there's some juice left in the church of Dabo.
It don't matter. Dabo's cooked, man. I'm sorry. I'm not. I think they honestly, man, with everything that happened with Alabama, right? I think they plowed through these first 4 games. I just do.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I don't know. I don't.
What? You don't know what?
I don't know. Clemson intrigues me.
I think they beat Clemson in Georgia. That's a home game for them, basically.
Man, that's gonna be I can't wait for that. That's gonna be really good.
You think Clemson can compete with Georgia right now?
Dabo has to do something, dude.
The only thing I can say about that is Dabo's going to have a full offseason to prepare for this game. So he's going to come juiced up for this game. I get it. But so is Georgia, right?
He'll have most of his offense back.
I don't think they have a chance. I just don't.
With Garrett Riley still there.
They were cooked last year. I mean, like, they were cooked grits last year.
They got better as the season went on, but it wasn't.
Man, they're an average team, dude. I mean, they played in the ACC.
I get it, man.
I feel like Georgia's still going to be favored -9 in that game. Like, I don't know. I just feel like when shit gets real and we know what the rosters are, it's still Georgia -9.5 or something.
The only team that scares me for them in those first 6 games is Auburn. That's it. And
that's crazy.
The first six.
At Alabama is just a non-issue for you.
And no, I mean, I'm not saying it's a non-issue, but I don't think Alabama's got the defense. I mean, look how much they've lost. And we've been hearing rumors that Otis might hit the portal. I mean, like, how much more can they sustain, man?
Man, but y'all got to understand. He gonna look. DeBoer is still gonna run a damn good offense.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not.
He's always overachieved with his rosters too.
He has, but
he always does.
Look, man. Look here. Caleb Downs ain't walking through that door no more. Right? I'm sorry. That was like the one guy on defense you had to keep. Like, that was it. Right? I think to make this thing work, you had to keep Downs on defense and you had to keep Milroe on offense. Like, I think those are your 2 figureheads that are the leaders of that team in that locker room. Those are the guys you have to keep. You lost the guy on defense. You lost he's your everything on defense. You know, I'm just going to look, it is what it is. You don't think so? They're losing both their starting cornerbacks. They're gone to the league. Right? I mean, come on, man. I will
say this, though. Compared to a lot of the SEC schedules, I guess just the way this schedule is structured, it is manageable.
It's favorable.
It's definitely manageable.
It's favorable.
It's more difficult than their 2023 schedule for sure, but it's manageable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is favorable, dude. It's a favorable schedule.
Do they have Missouri on the schedule? Go down.
Nope.
Okay. No, they don't play Missouri.
I know.
They don't play. They don't play South Carolina anymore.
I'm scared. I'm not scared. I'm a tad bit worried about Mizzou because they just lost that defensive coordinator. I'm like, y'all got some interesting stuff going up there in Missouri right now. But yeah, no, I mean this schedule is definitely manageable.
Chris, I just want to say that 16th, 23, and the 30th is nasty business compared to what OU's looks like.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that's right because you guys go Missouri, Bama, LSU, I think. in those 3 weeks.
It's a bye
and
week
these
in
dudes
there.
are going Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia.
Oh, trust me. Like, look, out of OU and Texas, they gave OU the gauntlet. They said, "Hey, you baptized. Hey, y'all gonna get baptized by fire, boy." Yeah.
Oh, they said y'all about to get this work.
Go look at OU's last 3
Hold on,
games.
I'm pulling up now.
Jesus Christ!
I'm pulling up now. OU schedule. Okay, so 2024. You start off with Temple,
It's
then
3 games,
then U of H, and then Tulane, and then you got Tennessee, and then you go to Auburn, all right? Then you got Texas. You got a nice 3-game gauntlet there. South Carolina, you guys should be fine. Then you got Ole Miss, right?
at
then
Ole Miss.
Yeah, at Ole Miss. Then you got Maine. I hate them putting these weak ass games at the end of the year. And then you got Missouri.
The last 3.
You got Missouri. You got Bama. You got LSU, and don't even think about the SEC championship shit.
Hey, they put it on my schedule. I didn't see it on Georgia. So, you know what I'm saying?
That's nasty compared to Georgia's
nasty
last 3 games. That's nasty.
Yeah,
it's real nasty work.
It is.
You have to. This is one of those schedules where you have to look at it and say, okay, hey, this is our 3-game schedule for this point right here, because it's definitely, there's some gauntlets in there. But the thing is that you really got to get into the season to see how things are going to happen, how things are going to shape out, because I'm eager to see if Ole Miss is the same. Because if Ole Miss is playing like they did last year, that doesn't necessarily bother me, because I know that, hey, if we do what we need to do, we can win that game. Because I think with everything that he's done in the portal this year and what he's been doing, and I like Lane Kiffin a lot, they should be inside the top 10. They should stay inside the top 10. But they got some games early on in their schedule that's going to be pretty tough as well.
But with the look, the money they spent in the portal, let's be real, and the defensive upgrades, they're and the quarterback coming back, the offense coming back, expectations are sky high for Ole Miss this year, in my opinion.
Look here, man. They're going to start off 5-0. Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, Kentucky, South Carolina. How many? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, they're going to start off 6-0.
That's 6 before they go to LSU.
They had a bunch of warm-up games, and then they go to LSU. Now
you say that.
I know. I'm just joking.
You say that because you know Kiffin. You know how Kiffin is.
I know
Chris's boy. Hey, Chris's boy is going to be starting at quarterback for South Carolina. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Oh yeah, Ashford.
Robbie Ashford.
Hey, Beamer ball, baby.
Beamer ball, baby.
That's all I gotta say. Beamer ball. He knows what he's doing out there.
Hey, honestly though, every time I look at LSU's defense has to get better. Yeah. I mean, there's only one way that they can go now, and it's got to be up because they were pretty down pretty much the entire year last year.
They spent $2 million on Mr. Baker to come and call that defense from Missouri. There's no it needs to be. They're spending bread. On that defensive coordinator.
I get it.
There's no more excuses.
Look here. Defense. But I think people are forgetting too. Man, they're losing their Heisman Trophy winning quarterback too, right? And I know people want to talk about Nussmeier. I get it. Man, he ain't Daniels. He
threw for 400. He threw for like 400 in the bowl game against Wisconsin. He was looking good.
Man, we talking about Wisconsin.
I'm just saying, Nuss was looking good.
That's like Soldier was saying, Drake. We talking Wisconsin.
Nah, I'm on Nuss Bus 24, baby.
Pause.
Put a big pause, man. Good pause.
No, look, look, this is SEC. What you expect, man? Look, I think my boy is gonna be just okay. And if you want to catch that, y'all know where y'all can find all of that good content at. This is the SEC channel, so we'll stay here. LSU is an interesting team because Nussmeier. Because I think a lot of people have been excited about him for the longest, so we'll get to see him next year. They're going to have weapons. They're going to have guys outside, but who's going to be the guy that steps up and is that guy? Neighbors is gone.
They just
Thompson's
got
gone
CJ
too.
Daniels. They got CJ Daniels from Liberty. coming in.
Man, a lot of
And
these,
they still have like 5-star receivers.
Yeah, everywhere.
Wait.
I mean, that's just LSU.
Mississippi State and Arkansas are the teams that I'll look out for as well, because I think Levy at Mississippi State has a chance to steal some games this year from some people.
Who's the DC over there?
Shouldn't. They should trick people out. Huh?
You know, so who's their DC this year, you know?
I don't know yet. I think they hired somebody, but I'm not sure. I forgot the name.
Who's their starting quarterback, you know, Chris? Because I always thought DG was going to go there, but
I think we all did. Man, I don't know. Hell, way it's looking right now, because I don't know who's all on campus, but that Van Buren kid.
I want to answer Nino's question.
What's that?
They have a familiar face at defensive coordinator, Coleman Hutzler.
Oh, Hutzler.
He is getting
he's linebacker coach.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be the DC.
Yeah, you know,
Texas guy.
Hutzler.
Yeah, he used to be our linebacker coach.
Yep, he was.
Wow, okay.
And then he went to Bama.
Hey, staying on that same tip, y'all boy just got hired at South Alabama, Major Applewhite, man. Shout out.
Shout out to Major.
Yeah, shout out to Major Applewhite, now the South Alabama head coach.
Yeah, go and make that money. I ain't hating. Let's see. Just for shits and giggles, man, I want to look at Alabama's schedule.
I can already tell you one loss.
I can tell you one.
Again, I just can't emphasize enough how nasty the Georgia getting to play Georgia Tech after playing at FCS school to finish the season.
That's so.
OU's playing at LSU after Thanksgiving. Just nasty work.
How do we get one of them contracts? How do we get one of them schedules? Right? It's like, hey man, can we get Texas Tech at the end of the season every year, please?
They're gonna have like 2 weeks of tune-up. No disrespect to Georgia Tech, by the way, but they're gonna have like 2 weeks of if they're in the SEC championship game, they're gonna have like 2 weeks of tune-up before whoever they play.
That's like Texas playing Rice. That's like Texas playing Rice.
Ooh, Missouri comes to town.
Oh yeah. So this is Bama's schedule, folks. So they start off at Western Kentucky. Okay, it's an easy win. USF, that should be a win. Wisconsin.
Go at Wisconsin.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't really believe I'm debating if Alabama's going to beat Wisconsin. Seriously. You know what?
They would storm the damn field.
Dude, you know what's sad? Well, it's not sad, but it's just we have been so conditioned to see Alabama at a certain level. In a game like Wisconsin, we're like, yeah, okay, Wisconsin. All right, the first 4 games, Georgia. Then after that, the next game's going to be Tennessee. And then after that, next one, maybe LSU if they're good. And then, you know, that little OU team, they'll be just shot of them. And then Auburn's going to be something, right? You know, so that's what we would think, right?
You don't hate on them Boomer boys, man.
You know what's sad, too, is no one's going to care how good Wisconsin is.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, if this is, like, because, like, Luke Fickell's doing a great job. And they're starting to get, like, even if you watch their bowl game against LSU, that was actually one of the better bowl games, like, competitively that was played. Wisconsin did have a lot of talent on the field in that game. And, you know, your boy Mordecai was out there slinging it around, Chris. But no, if, like, let's say Wisconsin's, like, back to, like, Paul Christ level good.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago.
Yeah. 9 wins a season good.
Kalen's still gonna get shit if he loses that game, even if they're like, you see what I'm saying? Like, Wisconsin can like legit be like a top 15 team, and like he's still gonna get shit if he loses.
That's so sad. That's sad, dude.
No one's gonna care how good Wisconsin is.
Oh man.
Yeah, I see this one.
My boy said, so all DeBoer has done is more or less contrary to proper belief. He does not have less this year compared to past years. No, okay, dog, man, I get what you're saying. But we're talking about Washington's competition level and the talent that he had against the other Pac-12 teams was comparable. He's had comparable talent in the Pac-12. Washington's roster is just as stacked as Oregon's roster was last year, just as stacked as USC's and Colorado's and Oregon State's. We're talking about these guys are going to go into the SEC, okay? And we can talk about the more with less all we want, But when Caleb Downs is staring down your throat, or Anthony Hill or Stutzman, or it's a different level of talent. It just is what it is. It's a different level.
Okay, so to be fair to that point, can we do this exercise real quick?
What's that?
Let's compare Bama's roster, because
Right
somebody
now.
else's point here to every opponent, because somebody else's point here is if we go off DeBoer always does less with more, then theoretically, even now, Bama's roster, they're saying still has more athletes than Wisconsin's roster.
Yeah.
Right. So I would like to actually do that exercise, right?
Okay.
Like the first two games, Western Kentucky and USF, he clearly has more talent.
Yeah.
Than the
he should win that.
Right?
Easy.
At Wisconsin, I'm saying that's a coin flip because it's only your third game as the head coach with a lot of probably portal guys and young guys. So you don't know what you got yet.
It's true.
Georgia has more talent than Alabama.
Not even a question. And continuity. There's nothing new in this system.
You're at a disadvantage.
This is plug and play.
Vanderbilt, yeah, you should beat Vanderbilt. I don't care how bad things are.
Yep. South Carolina, you should beat them.
South Carolina, you should beat.
Tennessee, this is the interesting one.
That's where it gets interesting.
Because look here, Steven. We talked about this. I said about a month ago.
Nico might be a Heisman candidate.
He could be. Tennessee had a down year with their coach last year. 8-4 is probably a down year for them, and that was with a quarterback that did not fit that system. That was an 8-4 season.
Correct. I agree. Joe Milton didn't fit that.
He didn't fit that system. That was an 8-4 season with a quarterback that was not ready-made for that system. Nico fits that system. Hooker fit that system 2 years ago. So it's going to be interesting, man. Missouri, who has more talent?
I think he still has more talent than Tennessee and Missouri.
I think so too.
With you.
I think so too. LSU is going to be the big one. Can LSU clean that defense up?
And stop right there, because as me and Ty would say, we need to unpack that, because here's the point that I think, or here's something that I think will give us all a glimpse of what his first season in the SEC is going to be like. It's going to be like Brian Kelly's. Look no further.
You think 9-3 is going to be a season?
It's going to be a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
If they go 9-3 and win a bowl game and go
that's a success.
10-3,
that's a success.
That's a success.
Yes. Yeah. That is one more loss than what they had last year.
And that means you're at the edge of the playoffs, by the way.
Yeah.
I can see
it being very
I think Brian Kelly's first year is a great start. I mean, I think that is a great comparison or a great outlook for how his year will go.
I don't know.
Well, Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame.
Be praying for that kind of season.
No, but how much talent did LSU lose with Brian Kelly being announced that he was the coach?
Good point.
How much talent, man? This is mass
Brian
exodus,
kept
man.
A lot of those boys there.
This is
and brought in, and remember he brought in Jaden from Arizona State.
Yeah,
he was bringing in talent too.
Yeah, so I mean, this is this is different, man. I mean,
you see what I did there? Yeah, you hired a couple of coaches too.
Brian Kelly was able to retain Harold Perkins, so he didn't like decommit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's also consider, why did Brian Kelly come to LSU? Because they fired their coach.
Yeah.
Correct? And they went after another top 5 program, in terms of popularity and revenue. They went and poached Notre Dame's coach, right?
Yeah.
So
that's a win. That's a win for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we're upgrading our coach. Kalen DeBoer is following the GOAT.
Which, look here, Steven, look, man, I want to bring this comment up here too. This, so talking to, it was me, you, and Homer and Nash in the chat, right? We were talking about the coach in the administration giving Saban 100% access. That is a party foul. Like, that is a foul.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that with the group. So explain what you mean by that.
So, hold on. Let me share the screen. I say that, all right, so once Saban left and he retired and they get the brand new coach, the 80 for the school, and also the brand new coach said that Nick Saban has 100% access to this team whenever he wants it, however he wants. He still has access. In my opinion, I don't know if that's the best thing for a brand new coach following the greatest coach of all time, because at the end of the day, you might be sending mixed signals when a kid has a problem and he knows that the coach who recruited him here and coached him last year is right down the hallway in an office doing whatever he's doing, where he's working out or making a phone call or consulting somebody. He could easily run down and go talk to his coach when his coach is the new guy, right? And so I think some things can get conflicted in there to where these kids can have some mixed signals, and they might not know who to go to. People forget these are 18 and 19-year-old kids, man, fresh out of high school, a lot of these guys, so there's got to be some clear direction. I think Sark said it best when he took over Texas, right? He said, I can make it easy and implement some of the things from the previous coaching staff, but then it would just be that much harder for me to implement my own stuff because they're doing something that they've been used to doing for so long, whether it's right or it's wrong. Right. So I don't know how much of a plus that is for Alabama to have Saban sitting around or coming around. I think Saban's a lot smarter than that. I don't think he's going to do it because he knows he wouldn't want his toes actually stepped on like that. So I don't know, man. Chris, how about your thoughts on that, man? Oh, go ahead, Steven.
Go ahead, Steven.
No, I just wanted to say, I think we have to define, what does access mean?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because I think saying that publicly is a very kind gesture. It's also a strategic gesture to signal to the fan base and to make Alabama people feel more comfortable with Kalen DeBoer coming on board, saying, hey, we understand, we are mindful that the greatest coach of all time has retired, and we're not going to veer from those methods or the way of doing that we've been doing business here in Tuscaloosa since Nick Saban has been on board, and he is a resource. I think that's the way they want to phrase it. I think where you're going, Nino, is right, is a valid concern. Is he going to? That goes in the borderline of meddling and still having your hand in the cookie jar. Does he still have his office on campus and all that type of stuff? Like, then it becomes awkward, right? And it's like this cloud hanging over Kalen. I think Nick is going to be. I think Nick. I got to take him at his word. I think he's going to be retired. And if you want to pick up the phone and call me, you can pick up the phone and call me. But other than that, I'm retired. And I'm here if you want to leverage me for whatever you need. I hope it's that and not the latter.
Yeah. Chris, what about you, man?
I think that if you don't think that Nick Saban, there's been a conversation about this beforehand, I think he probably was one of the ones who talked to DeBoer too, telling him just like this and that, blah, blah, blah. I think that it's kind of like a rite of passage for this job, especially following somebody such as a Nick Saban. I think Nick Saban is somebody that you would want to be able to have around the program and have come in at key moments to be able to talk to recruits or different things like that, because he's also a closer. I don't think that you need to have him there going on trips or be a special advisor or whatever, but think about like Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer's always around the program and all the rest of that stuff, and he's around just enough for everybody to know, hey, this is the king of OU football, yada yada yada, this and that. Then he's gone. You get what I'm saying? So I think for Saban doesn't have to be there the entire time, but I think the board needs to.
Chris, wouldn't the ideal? No, I mean this in all seriousness. Wouldn't the ideal situation be? And I'm asking you this because I want you to educate me and others. I mean, I don't know this. Wouldn't this be like when Lincoln took over and the way you guys utilize Bob?
Yeah,
Stoops?
I think that'd be perfect.
That was a perfect amount of involvement.
Yeah. It'd be that type of involvement right there. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm here for when you have these, how Lincoln would always have those big, those big, anyways, you know how. But you know how Lincoln would have his big summer events for all the recruits and stuff. Stoops is around, everybody's around. So I mean, I think that's kind of how you would want it to be, as far as, I'm handing you the keys to this Lamborghini. Don't screw it up, but go have fun, do what you got to do. So
the only involvement I want to see Nick Saban have, so I just saw this comment. They said that, so his office got moved to the stadium, right?
Yeah.
The only involvement I want to see Nick Saban have with this team for Kalen's sake is to come to an occasional game, sit in the press box, eat some popcorn, enjoy yourself at the game with your grandkids in your hand, and leave after the game, right? Because this man still has to own this team, right? Like, it's just his team. And I only say that because you guys know that, look, man, I'm in the Air Force, right? And so at the time I was a commander, and the worst thing that you want is the previous commander to come to the functions, right? I've been invited to a couple functions with the new commander in place. I'm like, I love you guys, but that's his job, right? It's like, I don't want to come to the Christmas party and, what I'm saying, and be the previous guy, right? And so that's kind of his thunder.
Recruits.
If you gotta closing on a hell of a recruit, see, this is where you use them. Now, see, this is the perfect time to use them. A lot like back in the day when USC, when they wanted to close on a recruit, for the all the young folks in here that might not like this name, they would go send OJ. They would send OJ to the house.
No, you're right. Free Nicole, all that, y'all.
They would send OJ to the house because OJ was the biggest brand name in sports and entertainment. He was in movies, a Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Everything, one of the top players, every player in the game. And when they wanted to close on a recruit, they would send OJ to the house, and those guys would pretty much, like, they would commit on the spot, right? So that's an option. Kalen DeBoer does this thing. He's recruiting a guy, and there's just this one, hey, coach, we got him, but hey, man, go tell him how good we really do have it, because he's leaning towards Georgia. I got him. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, come here. Kalen has my utmost, whatever, and whatever he needs, we got. And he talks to me on the phone once or twice a week, and I'm still a presence there. You might not see my face, but some of the words that are coming out are still some of me too. All right, so maybe that might be it.
Yeah, JB, I don't think it's going to be like GP to Sark. GP to Sark,
yeah, that's the difference.
Was on a technical level to handle a certain part of our defense, and to bring in some intel on hand to handle the state of Texas, certain regions. I think GP has done a measurable success and credibility with Texas now recruiting the DFW area and recruiting defensive backs and how to play them. We're obviously not all the way there yet, but we made strides. But that was on a technical level. We're talking about the person, Muladula. I think that's another good one. Looking at John Shire, currently the coach of Duke, and Coach K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how that was. Now, the only difference is Kalen DeBoer didn't have any ties to Nick Saban.
Yeah,
whereas
true.
John Shire was a former player and then an assistant head coach under Coach K, and Coach K anointed him as his successor. But I'm still gonna be
around.
Stoops. I'm still around. I'm still upstairs. But I think that's a closer one than GP and Sark. GP and Sark was more transactional.
Yeah, exactly. What else we got here? We need Nick Saban to replace Sleepy Lou Carosa. Don't talk about Lee Carosa like that. But I would love to see him on game day. I really would. I want to see Nick Saban let his hair down, man.
Saban's good on TV.
He is. I want to see him be.
He's good on TV.
I want to see him be loose. And honestly, I think what we've seen over this past year, man, with Pat McAfee, and him, you got to see a different side of Nick Saban. And he has the dry humor. He's just kind of fun to listen to outside of being in such a structured environment. And I think that'd be perfect, to be honest with you. Come on there, pick some games, talk to people, interact, and do his thing, man.
I would love to see that personally. I think shout out to Lee Corso. He had a much better season, by the way, than
He
I
did.
thought he was, because 2022 was brutal. And I was wondering why he wasn't a part of the ESPN layoffs. But look, Lee Corso came back. I don't know if they, put in, somebody else's spirit from Get Out or something in there, but that
This
man
dude.
had
That's
his
cool.
battery was
That's
recharged. I'm just saying his battery was recharged.
That's
He had a good year
cold-blooded,
this
man.
year.
You about to get
If
the
I'm-
show canceled before we get started. Come on. Chris, he about to kill us, man. What are you doing?
I'm letting Steven talk, man. I'm letting him have it. You got it, bro. You do what you got to do, man.
Was that too far?
Jeez.
That's too far. Too far. It's too soon, damn it. Come on, man. Oh, man.
I want to see Nick Saban on TV. That's all I got to say.
I do
want to
too.
see Nick
I do
Saban
too.
on TV.
This is a good one, though. So who wins? Come on, man. It's Miro's job. And it's Miro's job, and if it's not his job, he's going to transfer. I mean, it's his job. You know what I'm saying? Miro's special, folks. I don't think a lot of people understand that.
And I think that DeBoer is the coach that can unlock that. And I said that. Well, I think was it last week to Ty. I think that he's the coach that can unlock that because I think he's working with a similar skill set to Penix. I know people gonna laugh, but I mean aren't they both left-handed?
No.
I thought
Jalen's right-handed.
But either way, I think that there's some similarities there, and I think that with his legs as well, he's gonna be able to do what he needs to do. It's just got to see who the hell's gonna be.
I want to speak on this one too. So
go ahead.
The QB run game stuff. They'll be able. There's some QB run game stuff that Washington. So Kalen, DeBoer, and Ryan Grubb. Please do not forget Ryan Grubb is a
mastermind,
big time part of this as well.
Yeah,
they have run game scheme stuff that they just did not do at Washington because of Penix's injuries, but they used to do it at Indiana, and they actually showed a couple of them that counter play. They hit us with it. I don't know. They hadn't run it all year, and then they ran it against Texas in the freaking Sugar Bowl. But
they had multiple
that
pairs.
type of play right there, that's what you can consistently do with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then still have because his one strength throwing the ball is his deep ball and his ability to really, really push the ball downfield, which is what they want to do. With Julian saying, though, I think this is positive pressure. Because Julian Sand is no joke. He's got that Drew Brees natural accuracy. That kid is a leader. He reminds me a lot of Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Julian does. He reminds me a lot of the way he carries himself. He's advanced for a freshman. But I think it's going to hopefully be, for their sake, for Jalen Milroe's sake, like Arch and Quinn Ewers, right? Where Arch comes in, but Quinn Ewers, that push, that good push in the quarterback room to take the next step. I'm with Chris. I don't know what Ty Simpson is doing. Somebody's got to talk to these guys. Go find a home.
But hold on, though. Isn't Ty Simpson, he's Bear's grandson, right? Isn't he? I thought for some reason, maybe I'm tripping, but I thought for some reason.
No, I think that's somebody else.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
They also have the other kid there that they really like. That was
what's his name? Langer,
Lonergan. Dylan Lonergan. Yes, who has a lot of natural, like he's probably the one that looks the most like a pro style quarterback. Is the Lonergan kid, but we haven't seen him. He has no experience.
Gotcha.
That's the only problem with that. But behind the scenes, they said he was tearing it up. So who knows?
Yeah, gotcha. All right, folks, man, look, man, it's what time is it? It's 8:22. You guys been with us for a while. You guys starting to dwindle down. We had over 100 folks. You guys down about 70 now. So I think we'll end up closing shop tonight. Episode 37, man. Next week, episode 38. We'll see what the hell we're going to talk about. Man, thank God for the portal and thank God for NIL because this is giving us a lot of stuff to talk about in the offseason. In previous years, hey, after the season's over, it's dead. We still talking, and also, Saban retiring too had something to do with that too. But folks, tune in next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun again. Episode 38. Yeah, Chris, go ahead, man.
Hey, real quick, man. This is big for all three of us, man. We got on here and we didn't even take any jabs tonight at each other, man. It was just good times, man. Good times.
I got a feeling this man's gonna say something.
I ain't got nothing to say. I was just saying, man, good for us, man. We made it a whole hour and 19 minutes without exchanging words, man.
Nobody got sidetracked.
Yeah. Look, tonight is not about us, man. We could carry our beef over some other day. Ty, brother, my brother in Christ, as Stephen would say, I love you, man. I'm here for you. I offered Ty today. I said, hey, let me buy you and wife dinner tonight because there's so much stuff going on at Bama. It's the least I could do. So, hey, man, horns up for peace.
He's hanging in there, y'all.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they say down there in Bama, but it's just I don't know.
Putting up a brave face. He really, at least publicly, he's got that, the Joker smile. Where
I know it's all good, man. It's all good. But hey, Chris, man, I got something for you. All right, man. We can go ahead and end this thing, man. I appreciate you.
Put Boomer, hey, if you like this video, put Boomer in the chat, man. Go ahead and put Boomer in the chat. Y'all already know.
Orca said where to find us.
We out. Oh, yeah. Find us, man. Nino's Corner Sports. Chris, where you at, man? I ain't going to say your name.
Hey, Chris with a K on Twitter. Chris with a _ K on Twitter. And then also you can find us on YouTube, Horns Down Podcast. You already know.
All right. Steven, how about you, man?
Fanatic perspective in the building. Subscribe, help us grow, and most importantly, subscribe to the SEC Connect. That's what we are.
Please.
Hit us up every Wednesday night, bringing you the best. We are officially SEC.
We are officially SEC.
He ain't lying.
There you go. All right, we out. Deuces.